Hey, happy Friday, everybody. It is April 3rd and time for this week's Friday Funnies, brought to you live from the Friday Funnies news desk. Well, this week, March went out like a lamb with a handgun, and April was ushered in under protest. We had major snowstorms hit the upper Midwest this week to close out March, and then April was ushered in by a huge protest over in London. Over there, the heads of all the major countries are meeting at the G20 summit, and the protesters outside of the meeting are blaming them for everything from the dire economy to the Jonas Brothers. Personally, I can't believe they're having an entire summit dedicated to G20. I mean, really, how do you think that makes the other bingo numbers feel? That said, here are the stories that caught my attention this week. Let's start out with ShamWow! That's right, ShamWow! This is my ShamWow that I bought. It shrunk when I got it wet. But we've all seen that guy on TV selling us the ShamWow and also the Slap Chop. And his name is Vince Shlomi. And this week, he got into the media pool so far over his head that it's going to take a truckload of ShamWows to soak up the liquid and keep him from drowning. All right, Vince was in Miami Beach where he picked up prostitute Sasha Harris and paid her $1,000. They went back to his lavish hotel suite where Vince said he went to kiss the prostitute and she bit his tongue and wouldn't let go. So he's trying to get her to let go, and he's throwing right hooks at the hooker, and she's just clamped onto his tongue like a Doberman on a pork chop. And she starts throwing punches back at him. Both parties sustained injuries, black eyes, bruises, everything, and both of them were arrested for aggravated battery. Now, Shlomi is being represented in court by Billy Mays, who said, "I promise that my defense will be OxyClean, and the jury will become magic putty in my hands." And Billy, he's quite the bedazzler. No one likes drunk driving at all, and Kyle Wigley of Newark, Ohio, was arrested this week for driving while drunk. The weird thing is he wasn't in a car at the time. Kyle was perched atop his motorized bar stool, doing about 38 miles an hour when he crashed it. The police picked him up and he said, "Yep, I've had about 15 beers at the time." And I'll be honest with you, I do not condone drinking and driving in any form. But you have to admit, motorized bar stool, how cool is that? All right, it's often been wisdom of the criminals who say, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Well, I would like to add to that, don't do the crime if it's going to make you cry. In Trenton, New Jersey, a 19-year-old man tried to steal a bottle of cognac from the Sykes liquor store. Well, the clerk behind the counter saw him trying to get out of the store, and he flipped the switch that triggered all of the door locks. So now the teen is effectively locked inside the liquor store. So what does he do? He pulls a really cheesy-looking plastic gun out of his pants, says, "Open the doors or I'll shoot." Well, nobody fell for that, so what did he do next? He sat down on the floor and started crying. He was still crying when the police arrived to arrest him. And if they took him to a jail in Trenton, New Jersey, I'm just willing to wager that the crying has not stopped yet. Finally, I'd like to close out this week's Friday Funnies with a happy feel-good story. Milford, Connecticut is the home of nature's latest oddity. A pet store in Milford, Connecticut is the birthplace of a bunny born with two noses. Two noses, and both of the noses have two nostrils. It's a two-nosed bunny. They said other than the twin snouts, the bunny behaves just like the rest of the bunnies in the litter. And the pet store is now running a contest to try and name him. The leading contenders so far are Cyrano de Bergerac and Deuce. However, I would like to cast a vote in favor of naming the bunny after the only other living creatures to have had two or more noses, Michael Jackson. Hey, that's all I have for you this week. Remember, you only got about 12 days until April 15th, time to pay your taxes. Of course, if you're a politician, you don't pay taxes, and that information doesn't affect you at all. See you next week.